Welcome aboard. Magic Round been and gone. Now we've got a couple of quiet weeks before State of Origin. What's going on in rugby league? Every week should be an event. Every week should be Magic Round. Joel Kane, hello to you.
Hello to you, Dan. Great to have you back. What was that movie? Don't Tell Mum, Dan.
Babysitter's Dead, Sugar.
Don't Tell Mum the Babysitter's Dead.
Great movie.
You must have been worried about that, Dan, not going away. Would you come back?
Joel,
Christina Applegate.
Joel, when we record 10 minutes and then it has to get scrapped because it didn't meet standards, don't reference things in those 10 minutes because they're meaningless. So we had to record. We just recorded 10 minutes and then it was scrapped because something was said that it's fine. But he's now referenced something that no one will ever hear again, Joel.
Yes.
You're a better host than that.
No, I just wanted to lift you up. You're a bit sort of off the bit, and we just need to rev you back up.
No, I'm fine.
How was Magic Round, Dan?
Magic Round was great. I had a very quiet weekend because I had 5 games in 2 days. Yep. So that's, hey, it was no complaints, but I didn't have the festive time that others did, but the buzz was great. And Sean Ormerod, hello to you.
Hello.
The fact that you're here now on a Wednesday means that Ness still hasn't given birth. Mm-hmm. Bag's still sitting in the corner. I think you could have come with us on... I don't know why you weren't there on the weekend.
I'm worried.
I think this is an excuse that you just didn't want to go to Magic Round.
I haven't got my phone in here with me, so it could actually be ringing.
Oh, I mean, what a father he's going to be. What a dad
did you do the hotel walk to the stadium?
Too long.
No?
No, I have done that. It's about a 45, 50 minute. It is a great walk, but because, I'm still in back-to-backs and that's... It was, and there may have been a driver there taking Fox people from hotel.
Hang on a minute. No. A driver.
Well, one of the Fox staff, they do because the hotel is a fair way away.
Is it?
Well, it's in Fortitude Valley. I had my son in Fortitude Valley. But that's on the other side of the CBD. So there's a driver that takes people back and forth,
Can't get an Uber, can't get a cab. You must need a driver.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that's how we...
You almost looked like a man of the people down Caxton Street there, but you just lost us all.
But it wasn't my decision to have a driver there. I didn't demand it. But if it's going to be there, I'm going to use it. Now, I said on Sunday, and thanks everyone for watching on Sunday, I said, isn't it great? We've gone through a whole Magic Round and we haven't had talk of, let's play in Perth, let's play in Auckland, let's play... And then you wouldn't believe it. Now that's all I read. I would suggest this. I think we all know what's going on. And if Andrew Abdo played poker and showed me those cards, I would push all in on him because it's obvious what he's doing. He's just milking money out of Queensland. And that's great. That's good business. David Crisafulli comes out on 360 and says, this thing's worth $50 million to us. Joel, that's the first look at your watch, and I'm going to count him because he's got to get a plane to Byron Bay.
Great peripheral vision.
That is the first look, and I'm going to count them. But Crisafulli now just showed his hand. 50, really, the weekend's worth $50 million. Well, isn't that interesting? So I understand what Abdo's doing, Joel, but can we get a market on Sportsbet, please? Chances Magic Round will not be in Brisbane any time in the next 10 years. I would have 50 to 1.
Yeah, probably. I've got a little... Sorry.
Just on his little piece to camera and how good it was. Go back and watch it. But can we address the elephant in the room from that the little piece that you did do? And the cameraman, are you going to apologise in any way to Kane?
Yeah, I do. I didn't. I asked him. It was noisy at Caxton, as you can appreciate. Caxton, Magic Round, Origin-like, a lot of noise, New Year's Eve type sort of audio situation. And I asked him his name, and I thought he said Cade. And he did look at me funny every time I referenced him. So, Kane,
great fella, and that's how polite he is.
Apologise.
Let it through the keeper.
I do apologise. Did a great job too, walking backwards, and he had Hammy dragging him. But it was a very professional operation there. My thanks to Hammy and Kane for doing that before I had to rush off for the Sunday games.
Speaking of names, Shawnee, it was quite endearing actually. He referred to me in the clip as Jolie.
Jolie.
I've never been jolied by you before. I liked it.
We're doing a forensic examination of something from 3 days ago. It's done. Magic Round is...
Good job. It was a good video. Well done.
All right. Thank you very much. Again, you could have been there. And if you were there, he would have been there. So how far away are we from?
We're about a week, give or take. About a week.
You excited?
Yeah. No, looking forward to it.
Nervous?
All of the above, Dan.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's Ness doing?
She's doing well. Yeah.
Very good.
To highlight why he could have been there, he's been saying many times this week, I might go down to the Raiders versus the Bulldogs. Like, what's the difference?
Hang on, that's even worse because you can't get a flight, as I'm doing that game. You can't get a flight out of Canberra that night, so your only option is to drive. So you are 3 hours.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to Brisbane...
A week earlier,
and, okay, what's the task? You've got to get from the airport. It's the same thing,
exactly.
At worst.
Just feel like I've got a responsibility to beat that game, given they're my number 1 and number 2 teams, Joel. That would make sense.
Please.
Give me a break.
Please.
What's going on at your best mate Trent Robinson and his Roosters, Joel?
Yeah.
They're shipping off Dom Young, and now they're shipping off. I'm reading here Brandon Smith. Now, by the time you hear this or you watch this, or certainly hear this,
it'll still be lukewarm. It won't be cold news. It's only just.
Well, it only just broke as we record. Are they doing all this to get to open? Are they that strapped in the cap that they have to do all this to open it up for DCE? Surely not.
Yeah, but no, I don't think so. To me, it kind of feels like they're wanting to do something this year.
They have to.
And if that's the case, who? Like, is Joey Manu definitely out? Is he definitely not coming?
I thought he'd committed that he was. Well, we'd have to check on that, but I thought that had, in the last month or so, had been knocked on the head.
What do they need?
He's one of the 2 names that comes up every time. I'm with you. I thought I heard at least on 2 occasions where he said, no, it's not happening.
So what do they need?
Front row.
Who?
Roosters.
Yeah.
Could they pinch for Fifita for the rest of the year?
Collins, how far away is Lindsay though? He's only. That's not a long termer. So.
Do you think? Okay, here it is, and I've just thought of this. So remember at the start of the season when this was being mooted, South were going well. They were 4-1. Now they've been exposed a bit. And they've been unlucky. Geez, injuries, suspensions, the whole lot. They can't take a trick. You think the Roosters have thought, you know what? South aren't probably going to fight. Let's be honest. South aren't really a threat to make the finals. We are a threat to make the finals, but it doesn't matter. Brandon, let's just move him on. So because South are no longer the threat we feared they were. Do you think they have that attitude? Because the whole idea was don't allow us to get worse to make South get better, because we could be competing for the same spot in the 8.
Yep.
And I think they look at South now and think, no, that's unlikely to be a top 8 contender when the whips are cracking.
Yeah, I get that thinking. I think it's more about they've got their eye on a big target before June 3rd.
I think there's someone this year. It's not,
and he's
not
a
just
distraction
Cherry
sitting
next year.
there, not playing, knowing he's going. I think that's a distraction.
Yeah.
But I just want to know, okay, are we all sort of certain that there's a big signing pre-June 30 for Roosters to have a tilt at the back end?
It's imminent. It has to be. Although I can't make sense of any other reason why. This isn't just next year. This is now.
Yeah, it's now.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll keep our eye on that. Most impressive team in Magic Round. I know I've just put that on out there. No preparation. I mean, think of some of the winners. Roosters. I thought Roosters were pretty impressive. I know it was Dolphins, and they're not
undermanned
class of the league. You look at the Saturday games. Good win Newcastle, but again South weakened. I thought the Warriors.
It's hard to get the Wars crowd out of your head when you look at this as well, though. I think. I don't know if. Well, they almost lost the game.
Yeah,
but you throw in
some Cowboys fans there too. I mean, let's not pretend this was at Eden Park.
yeah, but geez, I don't know. There's something about their crowd when they turn up to a game. They make the most noise. They got big letters and everything in the crowd. It just looks like a real party. I've
seen Joel's. By the way, we've got to talk about something else. But I've seen Joel's flares, which would suggest to me you are not convinced about Penrith. Penrith were probably the most impressive, given where they're at, the stage, how they did it over Brisbane. You're not convinced they're back?
They've definitely improved. My concern is back-to-back on the road. You're up to Brisbane, now you're up to Townsville again. Great team on paper. I just a little concerned. They haven't yet gone back-to-back, right? Yeah. So I kind of need to see that first.
All right, great game Saturday night against the Cowboys, which we will get to. But the thing that is really starting to annoy me now, we have to put our bets on the WhatsApp group, right? And that's fine. And I've always often been late, but that's because I just don't get around to them until 11 o'clock at night on a Tuesday or a midnight. Or okay, I'm a night owl. We've talked about that a million times. But it's not as if I'm holding anything back. I just don't get around to it. I've been much better at that recently. But these two, particularly Kane,
Jolie.
are holding back their best bet. No, you've done it a few weeks now.
Can I explain?
Where you put the flares and then it's best bet TBC.
Yeah, no, that was a new iteration this week. The TBC. That was a new.
I mean, is your genius so delicate, Joel?
No.
That you have to wait until the last possible moment.
No. So the best bets, firstly, are airborne. Secondly, the reason why I do that is because I just need to give the punters the best chance to go as late as I possibly can. I don't put it on the thread because you don't wake up to about lunchtime each day. So I have the courtesy of thinking about you not to put on the thread. Unlike you, when I'm asleep.
But what's your bet got to do with my best bet or whatever?
And what it's got to do with is that I'm in here at about 6:30 in the morning, which the SP, the senior producer Gibbo, is often in here at the same time. So I can tell him verbally whilst I'm here without waking you up. It is great consideration that I have for you, Dan.
But hang on. What consideration? So you put your best bet in. Did you have your best bet last night when you put... Right.
I didn't have it till this morning.
At 8:56 p.m.
No.
So what happened between this morning and last night at 8:56 where all of a sudden you worked out? I mean, again, the delicate genius.
Yes.
You need every single minute.
What's the strike rate of the best bets for the delicate
Well, mine's
genius?
pretty good too,
Yes.
and I'm not doing this bull. Now they have to beat me out. and I blame you.
Just on the WhatsApp thread, I don't want to be too indulgent, but that wasn't the highlight for me. The highlight for me this week of the thread was Joel texting all of us who are on there, myself, your good self, Dan, and Gibbo, producer. Hey guys, can we must start at X time. I've got to be out to catch a flight.
And thank you, Dan, by the way.
Directed at only one man and one man only, because you know I'm in here
That's
nice and
why I
early.
didn't respond.
And there was
I
no
wasn't going to
response.
give you the satisfaction.
And you know what? I was half thinking you'd lob in 15 minutes late just to jam me. But I noticed on my comment there was one green tick.
Yeah, you knew it wasn't.
And I thought, it's
Could it be?
100 to 1 it's Ginnane. And I clicked on it and it said the coal miner.
Rock solid. Rock solid, the coal miner.
Here we go.
No worries.
Anyway.
Thank you for being
You made it on time though, Dan. Well done.
Oh, okay, it's not that big. Okay, fine. Sunday night, we're back to the normal time. So it was great being on after Melbourne, Canberra and Maddie's live show on Sunday, but back to the normal time. That's 8:20. And it's going to be a bit up and about the next few weeks because of Origin. Although I think 8:20 is going to stick around for a while. More importantly, let's get to the games. Good round. Some very interesting games, and it starts with Parramatta and the Dolphins. It is Thursday night, CommBank. Parramatta, of course, different team with Moses. I thought they were pretty good, actually, against Cronulla. Not a bad game. Dolphins, they're hurting a bit. That was a bad loss to the Roosters in terms of the overall scheme of things. Kurt Donahue this name always throws me, Joel. It spells Donahoe, but every time I ask the poor Dolphins media manager every second week when I do a Dolphins game, can you tell me it's Donahue? So let's go with Kurt Donahue, even though it's Ghoe. Anyway, this is a really tight game. I'm going to let you kick this off here, Sean. Dolphins 3-6. You know they've had as many losses as Parramatta. So if Parramatta win this, they'll actually have a better record than the Dolphins.
Yeah, this is almost go time for both these sides. Bottom four at the moment. It's almost now or never if you want to make some sort of charge. The Dolphins last week, they were really, really poor. The Roosters smashed them and smashed them up front. I know they get one name back. Felice Kafusi comes back into the side. Again, I'm not sure if that's going to really change that sort of problem to fix it with 1 week. And Parramatta, I agree with you that it felt like a pretty fair result. The Sharkies game, they weren't overly amazing, but they certainly weren't the Parramatta that we watched in the first 2 months of the year. Mitchell Moses back, completely different team. CommBank Stadium, they're again another completely different team. I worry for the Finns here.
What are you looking at specifically in terms of Dolphins' defence?
So they went from hero to zero. A month ago, they beat the Panthers, they beat the Melbourne Storm. Then in their last two losses against the Raiders and the Roosters, look at their left edge as we pull up one of my favourite graphics, the heat map. There's a lot of bad stuff happening. This is your acne map, Dan. A lot of bad stuff happening the left-hand side of their defensive goalposts. That's been their issue the last 2 games in particular, where they've had heavy losses. They've leaked a lot of points quickly. Only 2 games, maybe you can forgive them, but then you go back through the whole year, they're over-indexing on that side of the field compared to the comp in a big way. It's an issue. Jack Bostock had a bit of a shocker last week, but again, the Roosters last week just had an absolute field day. Bad things happening around Herbie, bad things happening around Cody and Nikorima. Teams are having an absolute field day down that side of the field, and I think if Para are to get even possession, and that's probably all they need, I think Mitchell Moses, that's his dominant side of the field. We saw Dylan Brown pop up that side of the field as well and scored a try. That's a scary thought.
2 things here before I go to you, Joel. Dolphins, outside of Queensland, 3-16 in their history. 20-18 in Queensland, 3-16. And Parramatta, this is really interesting. Look at the current top 8. They've only played 1 match against the current bottom 9.
Okay.
So they've actually had a very hard draw in retrospect. They've had 1 game, and it was against the Dragons, which they won. You like Parramatta here?
I like Parramatta, very keen. Almost were my best bet. The Parramatta side, 5 tries conceded to the Sharks. Not many players run the line that Iro ran. Not many players run the line that Nicola ran, so they won't face that this week.
Is that a coach's corner? Can we get that in there?
They also had that swinging play from Kennedy with that beautiful kick. They probably won't face that this week. They won't face 2 guys trying to go through the same hole like McGuinness did. So I think Parramatta are near on good things here.
I like it, Shug.
All right. Where are we going? You've got the flair, Sean.
Yeah, it could be pretty obvious to look at the Parramatta lineup and go, right, well, Fox has to be in your same game multis, but with the graphic and the stats for the Dolphins' left edge defence, I have to go right. Bailey Simonson, who's been really, really good for them, not so much with his attacking numbers, but his effort work has been enormous. I think he can have some fun on that right edge.
All right, let's go to Newcastle versus Gold Coast, Friday, 6 p.m. Knights. It feels like they're back in some sort of form, although got to be careful. They beat a team that is just beaten up at the moment in South Sydney, but it was a very good win. Fletcher Sharp. I want to see the betting. I would never say Matty is telling porkies or putting mayo on a story. I just don't. No, he told me the odds and the amount he put on it. Like I believe. How do you get 201 for Fletcher Sharp? He's the only Newcastle bloke that scores tries. There has been a stuff up somewhere. Fletcher Sharp scoring a hat-trick. It's an unbelievably good bet. I'm saying well done to him for finding it. And then I see this week he's only $23, Sean, which is probably what he'd normally be. So someone in headquarters is just
I think we
a
might have
little
been
boo-boo.
We might have been a little bit asleep at the wheel as to just how damaging he can be. But let's be fair, the Knights couldn't score for quids the last.
Yeah, but he's the one. He's the only one that is scoring.
I know that.
It wasn't 3 tries for Jacob Saifidi.
The total. I'm not defending it.
All right,
it's a great bet. The total was low enough. They were only just slight favourites. But if I said to you, well, there's only 34 points in the game, what price he to score a hat trick? It's going to be a bloody big price.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, so he'd only played 19 games before this. He had already scored a hat trick. He had already scored a forfer. So in simple terms, and I know it doesn't work this way, but if you knew they covered the line, he would score a hat trick in at least one of the next 200 games. Do you agree with that?
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, the price was wrong. Simple as that.
Yes, the price is wrong.
That needs the Zach Galifianakis figures.
I'm with you, Shug.
Gold Coast are in a world of hurt. They're probably the worst team in the comp right now. Jaden Campbell is back. Hallelujah for them. Poor old Tom Weaver. Boy, that was a bad KO he copped. Jojo Fafita comes back as well. Fodawaker, game 150. Tino, game 100. Something's a bit off there. The Dave Fafita stuff doesn't make sense to me. And more's going to come out. They've lost 5 straight. They've conceded nearly 40 points a game in those 5. 6 of the 8 games they've lost, they've conceded 30 plus. Feels like Joel Knights on a Friday 6 p.m. This is made for them to just do what they did to South again.
Maybe they do have a loss to the Gold Coast, so I really don't know. It's a bit of a stay-out game for me, Dan, but how are you playing it?
Newcastle for me, very comfortably. Titans, I think Newcastle have always been able to defend this year. So Titans alternate points under 12.5. Now, I did say last week during the game, I thought Titans would end up on 0 once Tom Weaver got knocked out. They scored 18, and they have got Campbell back. But I like Newcastle because I think they have found something.
They're still missing Keanu Kinney a great deal. Jalen de Groot, really good player, not the spark that they probably need. And it's been compounded by the fact that Campbell's been out as well. They get one back. I don't know. It's tricky, but I think I could only be with Newcastle at home.
All right, that leads us to the 8 p.m. game. Two well-supported clubs, but they're both doing it a bit tough at the moment, particularly one with the Bunnies and the Broncos. So South's getting a lot of start for this game. See the odds there on screen. It's double digits as we go to where 4 and 5 South, Brisbane 5 and 4. Geez, Brisbane are a funny side to follow. South are in a world of hurt. They've got Latrell back and they've got Jamie Humphries back. They're 4 and 1 when Humphries is in the halves. First 5 games of the year. Jaden Sullivan, a very cruel stat. He's lost his last 13 games as a starting half, but that's not fair because the game against the Roosters, he came on after 6 minutes, and it was a key player in that game, so that's a misleading stat. But 6 weeks in a row, different halves for South Sydney. They are in a world of hurt. Brisbane, I just can't see them being as bad again for a second week in a row.
That's not the 5-minute stat, is it?
No.
No. Okay. Cody Walker, by the way, they haven't won the last 5 without him. They have not won South Sydney. My concern is this. What about South Sydney through the middle? Probably no surprise to see Totola and Kepi lose their starting spots because in the last few weeks, people are just going through the middle. Max King hadn't scored for 6 years. He scored. Josh Curran scored. Last week, Cogger scored through the middle. Fletcher Sharp kept going through the middle. So it is a hot knife through butter, boys. Equal second tries conceded through the middle, but it's not just the tries, it's line breaks. Look at this, Max King. Soft, wafy defence through the middle. Wayne Bennett's rolled the dice here. This is a very small, agile pack that he's running with. And of all times to produce it, it is up against the great man, Payne Haas. So you can't tell me Payne Haas can't score. You know what I was thinking about doing, boys? I'm not doing this for the flair, I almost did. Payne Haas will get a double this year at some stage. And he's about 30 to 1. I reckon if you backed him every single week for a double, you're going to catch him. Do you think?
Wow. I like where your head's at. I do like where your head's at there.
So my flair...
He's on the field enough.
Yep.
And he has enough hit-ups.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I like where your head's at.
And they're big price favourites. So, woo! Payne Haas, anytime try scorer. Sean, how do you see it?
I can't get around a double-digit favourite away from home. That's not my sort of wheelhouse. I really did want to be Bunnies. Almost made it my best bet with a 10.5 star. There's just something to like around Latrell Mitchell back in and Jamie Humphries back in. It looks a much more settled lineup. But you're right, Dan. The Broncos can't, and we have to give credit to the Panthers as well. But I can't see the Broncos playing as bad as what they did. Like Reynolds kicked it out at the full twice, I think, in that game.
Yeah,
that's just not happening.
There's demons there for him. There's demons there for him against
Demons
Penrith
for the
or
whole.
in big games. I just see this team as one that's going to put the cleanest through the very gettable teams. And they might, well, at the moment, they're struggling against some of the better teams. This is a team that's obviously very gettable. So the flair belongs to you, Joel.
Yeah, Payne Haas any time, but I'm so tempted to go 2 or more. You know what? Don't go each way. You know, folks, I'm going to change it. Payne Haas, 2 or more tries against the Bunnies on the fly. There you go. Flairville.
All right, let's go to the match of the round. I can't wait for this. Driving down the Hume Highway and then the Federal Highway. If I got my highway. Anyway, I'll be on the road on Saturday morning and I'll be very excited. Canberra versus Canterbury. Canberra versus Canterbury.
Oh, wow.
This is the old days of Saturday, 3 p.m. This won't make any sense to Ormerod, but Boland and the late, great Peter Jackson and Johnny Peard and Debbie Spillane on the sidelines, although Johnny Peard was on the sidelines. But that, to me, they're the glory days of football. Ricky Stewart, Terry Lamb.
Dan, my hair's standing up because you know what? When this fixture popped up, and we're of the same vintage basically, I thought of exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Saturday, 3 p.m s. and often I'd play junior rugby league that morning. I was still in my gear. I had dirt on the knees. What a great time.
Oh, 5 minutes is up.
Here we go. Strap in.
The Canberra Raiders have been in the competition. This is their 44th year. This is just the second time in their history They are hosting a 1v2 or a 2v1 game.
Wow.
Think of the Green Machine, the 89, 90, 94. They had a great year in 93 before Ricky got hurt. 95, they had this magic run, but so did Manly. Once, ever, has there been a 1v2 or a 2v1 in Canberra, and it was 2003, round 14, Broncos, Canberra. Now, is your mind blown or what?
Oh, it's blown.
It's blown, baby.
You know what? I actually would have taken a very short price about it being Canberra and the Broncos, but not
in 2003.
Not 2003. Maybe 10 years earlier.
That's what I thought. I did it in my little machine, and I thought, well, that machine's let me down once or twice this year. This must be wrong. I checked with the lab, and they said that is correct.
Wouldn't you love to see this machine?
Canberra, the favourites for this game, Canterbury losing Jacob Preston.
Yeah.
Can I just say, look, as a wannabe QC, if you're fighting a 3-week suspension but it's a grade 1, you are not going to win, right? It's the system. They fought the Jacob Preston because it was 3 weeks. Now, I thought they might have had a case because I'm not sure it was a crusher, but it's grade 1, Joel. They don't beat grade 1s. So Matt Burton is back, but they do lose Jacob Preston.
I should have been more prepared with maybe some vision. You also don't get off the judiciary when you arrive in a very, very ill-fitting suit. It looked like he borrowed one at PVL's from next door and chucked it on Jacob Preston. It was pretty rank. Go and do yourselves a favour and look at it. So he's out. Curran's out. Tupanua's still out. They're missing some big, big troops. And it's that right edge that has been the only place you can score against the Bulldogs. They now face the Raiders left, which is as hot as it comes. I make the Raiders a smidge shorter. It's going to be a cracking game. The funny thing about them, they've got out of jail a couple of times now, the Raiders, but they were your best bet. They were getting flogged in the first half, somehow come back. That was at home. And the Storm, it took magic last week from KOX. We're going to see the try here. It was an unbelievable finish, but they did concede that field goal shortly before. We know the controversy. We see a little short ball from Matt Nicholson there, and then KO goes, boom, chip and chase. He goes straight past the Pap. And we also heard from Warren Smith, something that I heard before, room service bounce, which reminds me.
Okay.
Which reminds me, where have I...
Okay, I'm glad you bring this up. Why does Pappenhausen not get hammered for this, but poor old Jolie do it?
You are treating, and I like where your head's at, but I have nothing to do with this, Joel.
It's just
this is what
Did he actually say room service bounce?
He said room service
the
bounce.
Melbourne Footy Show used to do a thing with Gary Lyon crying on the field.
Yes.
And he's a Melbourne boy. I reckon he's taken a bit of
that.
The JB, because JB was hosting then. I reckon he's just taken a bit of that
Room
and
service
sprinkled that magic dust. What an excuse. I mean, that you could have...
Why doesn't Pappenhausen get hammered for that? Why do I get hammered?
Because he takes the bait every time.
I'll tell you the other thing, right, is just on the footy show, once a year for about 15 years, my phone would blow up out of nowhere. And I got to know why after a while. It means someone else has had a shocking kick. And then every time someone had a real bad goal kick, my one to get wheeled out of the game, and the phone would blow up.
Do you stub your toe on that one?
I was out for 6 weeks pretending to have a shoulder injury.
Syndesmosis.
I'm the only person in history
life you've
to
had.
get ruled out from a goal kick.
All right, let's talk about the game. We've waffled on about this. Is a great game. I couldn't believe Canterbury were slight favourites at the start of the week. Well done if you got on that. But now Canberra very warm favourites.
They are, yeah. Only 1.5, so hasn't really been backed off the map. I think they might get a little bit shorter as we approach kick-off. This is a tough road trip. There's so much in the game. When you try and map it all out on a bit of paper, you've got all these outs for the Bulldogs, but you've got Burton coming back in. The Raiders, yes, they won the game, but we're getting beat for a lot of it. It's a tricky game to work out. As I said before, I'd just make the Raiders a smidge shorter than what they are.
Your flair, please.
Flair bet. Now, I don't play in long blacks very often, but I am here, Dan. First try scorer purely because of the Bulldogs' defence. Unsure how many tries are in the game, but you've got to go against the Doggies right, Raiders left. Hot tamale, first try scorer.
Oh, okay, I like it.
Just on this game too, because it is a big game. The Canberra Raiders so far have played 4 teams currently inside the top 6 stand. They've won the lot.
Yes, you brought up excellent point. They'd have the box set if they beat Canterbury.
Yes.
Because they're one of the 6.
Correct.
They can't beat themselves.
Canterbury have played 2 and they're 1-1, right? And the other reason why I'm so keen on the Raiders here, and I couldn't believe they were getting a half start when the market went up, Dan agreed with me, is no Satili Tupanua, no Curran, now no Preston. Their strength is the forward pack, the Canberra Raiders. This game's down there. And the other thing is, Canterbury, who have been living in Sydney, have gone Suncorp, now to Canberra. They've been travelling everywhere. Canberra Raiders, if they can't win this, then they can't compete for this comp.
Okay, very good. Love it. I wrote a note, 3 minutes on each game. You then to spend another 2 minutes on Canberra. But every point you make is correct. The middle game, Dragons-Warriors, again, I can't believe the odds are as close as they are. I think the Warriors are far and away a better team. Maybe I've just got, because I saw them in person and they were fabulous, that's on my mind. Leka Halasima is not going to be $4 or $4.30. That's come in a bit. But anytime try scorer, get in early, get in on the ground floor on Leka Halasima scoring tries. Now, he started last week with his defence. I think he might have some joy at the other end of the field. Cowboys-Panthers. This is, what a super Saturday. Book ending with a cracker. Cowboys-Panthers. Panthers we saw back in form. They've won 2 of their last 3. Cowboys beat Penrith a few weeks ago in Sydney, 22-18. So this is another one of these weird matchups that are on very close to each other. Won their last 2, the Cowboys. They're a second half team. They won't want to let Penrith get away. Joel, I'm going to let you go first here. 3 and 6 teams, a 19% chance in the NRL era of making finals. 19%.
Yeah, but they aren't former premiers.
That's exactly
Panthers,
right.
So that's the thing there. Massive having Kenny and To'o back, but this is not forgetting Cowboys had a massive win over them at CommBank Stadium. Cleary, of course, that was uncanny what happened last week. And it must have been racing through his mind to do that exact same post-try celebration. It was just quite remarkable. The 40-20 against this same team. Like, this is pretty crazy. Very crazy what happens in this game, isn't it?
That little chip over the Tungo is becoming a little set piece where they whip out when they really need it. It's beautiful. Yeah, he was enormous, and probably the thing that makes me, and I'm not declaring their back. There we go. We see the absolute mirror of that try from the grand final a couple of years ago. Not declaring their back, but one thing that did make me sort of lean that way towards them not being back was their defence. They had to do a mountain of defence in that first half. Broncos, again, maybe not at their best, but we're going to see some numbers here about their red zone defence. The Panthers, rounds 1 to 8, they were conceding a try on average with every 6.5 play the balls in their red zone. That was the worst in the comp. NRL average about 10.5. On the weekend, the Broncos had 28 cracks to kick that door down. 28 play the balls in that 20. They come up with 1 try, and it was off a kick to Ben Hunt, of all people. So they had to do a lot of old school Panthers stuff in that win that would give you a lot of confidence going into this week. All
right. It sounds like you're saying the Panthers are back. This is a very good game. They are heavy favourites here. It's actually, Joel, it's actually a good price for the Cowboys. Yeah. $2.40.
Yeah, the fact that they've been, they've got our Suncorp now up there. I'm with the Cows at the price. Flairville, though, what about this, boys? You like this? The last 6 games the Cowboys have played, this same game multi, Talangi and Purdue has got up 5 times. 5 of the last 6. Murray Talangi's on a roll, 7 tries his last 6 games. Purdue 6 from the last 6. And if you wanted to get real clever, Nanai's been a part of that party a few times as well.
West Tigers versus Melbourne Storm in Melbourne. Now, West Tigers fans, I'm offended on your behalf at these odds. I'm offended. Okay? 14.5. You wait until you see the best bets and you're going to see how angry I'm going to get. $5.10. Melbourne are not playing that well. And the West Tigers, that's a historical market you've put up there, Sean. That is based on old results. The Tigers are not $5.10. I think Melbourne will win, by the way. I'm not an idiot. But $5.10 is a joke, and I would prefer myself to be on the West Tigers there to cover. Still, are you not aware that Harry Grant is not there
I'm aware
and
of that.
it is affecting them?
Yeah, I'm aware of that. What I am aware of also, though, is that if there's one team that you do not want to play in a bounce-back game where Craig Bellamy has absolutely tore you to shreds, it's Melbourne Storm. They now go down, so they go back home. That's a big tick. It's a Sunday afternoon game. Off the back of a big loss. There's only one side. There is so much upside in backing the Melbourne Storm by a big margin. That's what I'll be doing. The thing about the West Tigers is they concede a lot of line breaks through the middle channel. They're ranked second last, in fact, 3 on average per game they concede. There's one team that will just rip you to shreds, like Bellamy did to them in the sheds after the game.
Yeah.
It's the Melbourne Storm. The 14.5 can look so skinny very, very quickly. And the Tigers should have lost that game against the Dragons last week. I don't think they were any good at all. And that's not a good form line. Yes, they get the win, but I'd be digging a bit deeper into that.
My question about is Melbourne at the moment. They're not quite there at the moment, Joel. Where do you see this game?
Yeah, off a loss at Amy Park, that's my concern. Last 10 games, they've averaged a win of 20 points, the margin. Yes, Harry Grant's probably been there for a lot of that. Every single game at Amy Park this year, boys, Coates and Pap have combined for at least 2 tries. So I'll just go with the stats. Flair, Shawnee, how are you playing?
Big victory for the Melbourne Storm, 19+. Although, there it is, Shook.
Yeah, at least 2 every time they've played at Amy Park.
Yeah. Perhaps 8 from 8 himself. He's only missed on one occasion. You can see it there at round 6. I'm going that man, Pappy, on the right of your screen. 2 or more tries, Melbourne Storm,
Okay.
19+.
All right, so there you go. Okay. Very nice indeed in terms of the odds. Manly Cronulla. This is Brookvale. Now, you're going to hear a lot of stats this week. Cronulla's got a great record over Manly, and that's correct. But there's a thing in this world, lies, damn lies, and statistics, okay? What does that mean? It means sometimes statistics don't reveal the real truth or they reveal an untruth. When Turbo is in against Cronulla, they've won 3 of their last 4. When Turbo is out, Cronulla's won 5 of their last 8. To me, Turbo is in. Manly have to win this game, Joel. Manly have to win this game. They are 2.5-point favourites. I want to be on them for this game, even as unreliable as they are.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the winner of this game would be the team to go on a run late in the year. I think the winner of this game could be in that last 4-team standing. I don't know which one.
You said that about their Perth game, which may prove correct.
Yeah, I think it's one of these 2 games. Just on Turbo too, the last 41, yes, this is Artisan, last 41 Manly wins, Turbo scored 52 tries.
So he didn't score in the
What happened
42nd.
Exactly right, exactly right, exactly right. And I'll tell you what, they're the 2 you'll be looking at. Kale Iro, formerly known Kale, now KL Iro,
Yes.
and Turbo. We'll be looking for them to score tries. Kale Iro, he's on some kind of try run. He hasn't missed, boys. In 2025, Kale Iro has not missed scoring all year.
Sean, we talked about Manly, or I did anyway, because I like them, but Sharks have quietly won a lot of games or perhaps kept games close that they should. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I always like to look at how teams are going against the line because it tells more of a story than just wins and losses. Now, over their 9 games, I think they've been favourites in 8 of those, but they've only covered 3.
Ooh.
Now, they're going off outsiders here in this one, only just, it must be said, but I think the market might just be estimating them a touch so far this year. But again, you have to hand it to them. They're getting wins, so they can churn out when it matters. This is a really tough game. I think the line is absolutely nailed on at 2.5.
Manly at Brookvale with Tom since round 19, 2024, 5-0 without 1-3. Since round 13, 2023, 9-1, 5-5.
Yeah.
This is Brookvale with Turbo. Your flair.
My flair is, those 2, Tommy Turbo and Kale Iro, anytime try scorer, $4.50. Nice and simple.
Very nice. Well done. We jammed in an extra game there because we're all about rugby league and we jammed in a 5th game to preview. So let's take a quick break and we will come back with our best bets right after this. Get them onside. It's no secret we record these a little in advance, and Joel is actually, as we speak, in Byron Bay, and I'm going to guess, it's a dirty weekend, but I'm going to guess by now he's probably offended the missus, so he's out on the couch watching us. Hello, Joel. Hi. Hi. Let's do this. Joel here not in Byron Bay.
Yeah, Jolie boy, if you are on the couch and you are in trouble, you'll get through this, mate. Now is not forever. You'll get through this. Look, for me, I think about this Raiders-Bulldogs game. I can't see any more than a 4 tries to 3, like a 24-18 max, 42 points at the max. The Lions 44.5 total match points. I want to be on the unders.
All right, I like that. I can't wait for that game. Fox exclusive. Warriors, to me, are far superior to St George Illawarra. They thumped the Dragons 48-18 the last. I'm sure it was the last time they played there. I hope I'm right because I've just rattled that off the top of my head. And you're getting a nice price there. And some big inclusions, Dallin and possibly Roger.
In a round that is bereft of real obvious standouts for me, I'll go with upside and upside alone. The Melbourne Storm -14.5. Sunday afternoon, tick. Amy Park, tick. Sunny day, tick. Pappenhausen Airborne, tick. There's a lot to love about this bet.
Are you still in your little slump, or have you got out of that? Remember, you had a couple of weeks of just being off?
Slumpville. It's not a slump, though.
Rut?
No, not a rut.
Or it's something.
No.
It's something. You can admit
that's just punting
the
down.
bounce of the ball.
Sometimes it doesn't
I understand, but when I get to this third leg and I'm going to want to know, do I cash out?
Crush leg though.
Do I take options? Anyway, see you Sunday night, 8:20. As we get you, we review what is hopefully a fabulous round. Thank you once again for watching. You could get us on KO, on YouTube, longer versions of the show. You can get it a little earlier. Get them onside.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.